Sign this. 3 weeks ago, Lyriel Voss signed away her freedom to save her mother's life. The blood oath contract was simple. Marry Kalon Blackthorn, Alpha of the Nightshade Pack, and her mother would receive unlimited medical care. The debt that had been drowning her family for 18 years would vanish like smoke. The price? Becoming Luna to the most feared wolf in 3 territories. On paper, a political arrangement. A mate bond that existed in name only, marked with a shallow crescent scar on her collarbone during a ceremony so cold it felt like a funeral. No love, no promises, just survival. She'd been given the East Tower of Blackthorn Keep, told to stay out of the West Wing, and instructed to appear at breakfast every morning for appearances. For 3 weeks, she'd lived in gilded isolation, watching Kalon from across silent dining halls, learning the weight of a title that meant nothing, until tonight, when someone decided a contracted Luna wasn't worth keeping alive. The dagger came out of nowhere. Lyriel hit the floor, hard. Stone bit into her knees as the blade buried itself in the wood behind her head. 1 inch closer, and she'd be dead. Get down! Kalon exploded from the shadows. The assassin didn't even have time to scream. One moment he was reaching for another weapon. The next, Kalon's claws were through his throat. Blood. Everywhere. Lyriel couldn't breathe. 3 weeks. She'd survived 3 weeks in this nightmare, and now someone actually tried to kill her. Are you hurt? Kalon's voice cut through her panic. She shook her head. Couldn't speak. His golden eyes blazed in the darkness. Still shifted. Still dangerous. This is the 3rd attempt this month. 3rd? There'd been others? Heavy boots thundered down the corridor. General Thorne appeared with 4 guards, his hand already on his sword. Where? West Corridor. Kalon's voice was ice. They're getting bolder. Then we hit back harder. Thorne's scarred face showed nothing as he looked at the body. Then his eyes found Lyriel, still on the floor, still shaking. What about the girl? The girl. Not the Luna. Not even Lyriel. Just the girl. She's my contracted Luna, Kalon said slowly. Each word a threat. Anyone who touches her dies. Spread that message. Contracted. That word again. The word that defined her entire existence now. Kalon reached down. His hand hung in the air between them. Blood on his fingers. Power radiating from every inch of him. Lyriel took it. His grip was warm. Strong. He pulled her up like she weighed nothing. For just a second, something flickered in his eyes. Something that wasn't cold. Wasn't distant. Then it was gone. Return to your quarters. Not a request. A command. Serene will check on you. I'm fine, Lyriel said. Her voice only shook a little. That wasn't a question. He turned to Thorne. Dispose of the body. Find who sent him. And just like that, she was dismissed. Lyriel watched him walk away, shoulders rigid, every muscle coiled tight. He was furious, but not at her. At least, she didn't think so. Come on. A gentle hand on her shoulder. Serene. Kalon's sister appeared like magic, her face soft with concern. Let's get you out of here. You're shaking. Was she? Lyriel looked down. Her hands trembled like leaves in a storm. They moved through corridors that all looked the same. Stone, iron, shadows. This fortress was a maze designed to confuse enemies. It worked on her, too. Serene's chambers were different. Warm, soft fabrics. The scent of herbs. An actual safe space. Sit. Serene pressed her into a chair and immediately started making tea. You're in shock. Someone just tried to kill me. I know. The kettle rattled as Serene worked. And it won't be the last time. The blunt honesty was almost refreshing. Why? Lyriel's voice cracked. I'm nobody. I can't even shift. I'm the weakest wolf in any pack. You're his contracted Luna. That makes you a target. Serene poured steaming tea into delicate cups. But here's what you need to understand. If you were really just a contract, those assassins would have succeeded weeks ago. Lyriel blinked. What? Kalon has his best guards watching you. He's changed patrol routes 3 times. And tonight? Serene sat down, her eyes intense. I've never seen my brother move that fast. Not even in battle. He's just protecting his investment. Is he? Serene's smile was knowing, frustrating. Keep telling yourself that. Before Lyriel could argue, the door slammed open. Thorne. his face grim, serene. Lyriel, Kalon wants you both. Now. The way he said it made Lyriel's stomach drop. Something was very wrong. Kalon's study was all dark wood and weapons on the walls. He stood behind his desk, hands pressed flat against the surface, papers scattered everywhere. He looked up when they entered, and Lyriel saw something in his eyes that terrified her more than the assassin. Fear. Lord Varric Shadowcrag sent the assassin. Serene gasped. That's impossible. He was exiled. Exile didn't stop him from building an army. Kalon's jaw clenched. He's in the Western Territories, gathering forces, and he's made his target very clear. Me, Lyriel whispered. Those golden eyes locked onto hers. You. Why? Her voice was barely audible. I'm nothing. I'm powerless. Because Varric thinks you're my weakness. Each word was precise, controlled. He believes killing you will break me, make me vulnerable. The room went silent. Will it? The question escaped before Lyriel could stop it. Am I your weakness? Kalon stared at her. 10 seconds. 20. The air between them crackled with something electric. Dangerous. That, he finally said, is exactly what we can't let him find out. Not an answer. Not really. We're leaving at dawn. Kalon straightened. The fortress has too many entry points. Too many places for assassins to hide. Where? Serene asked. The Frostwild Mountains. I have a safe house there. Remote. Defensible. Only 3 people know it exists. My parents, Lyriel started. No. Kalon's tone allowed zero argument. No communication. No messages. Varric has spies everywhere. Your parents will be told you're on diplomatic business. They'll be terrified. They'll be more terrified if you're dead. The brutal honesty stung. But he was right. I'll send a secure message through my network, Serene offered quickly. They'll know you're safe. Kalon nodded. Thorn. Arrange horses. Old routes only. Nothing trackable. Done. Thorn left immediately, which left Lyriel alone with the 2 siblings. Serene glanced between them, then smiled slightly. I should go pack. She slipped out before either could respond. Silence crashed down. Kalon returned to his papers, pretending she wasn't there, but Lyriel was done being ignored. Thank you, her voice cut through the quiet, for saving me tonight. It's my responsibility. Is that all I am? She moved closer. A responsibility? His hands stilled on the desk. What else would you be? I don't know. Another step. Bolder now. Reckless. But sometimes when you look at me, I see something more than duty in your eyes. You're imagining things. But his voice had lost its edge. Am I? She was right in front of his desk now. You could have sent guards tonight, but you came yourself. Why? His jaw worked, muscles tensing, fighting some internal war. Because, he stopped, closed his eyes. This conversation is pointless. Is it? We have an arrangement, Lyriel. A contract, nothing more. A contract that might get me killed. Which is why we're leaving at dawn. His control cracked. Just for a second. Which is why I'm taking you to the most remote location I know. Which is why I'm risking everything to keep you alive. The words hung between them. Lyriel's heart pounded. Why? Because, he caught himself. Shut down. The walls slammed back into place. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. Dismissed, again. Pride straightened her spine. Fine. She turned to leave. Lyriel. She stopped. Didn't turn around. I'm not good at this, he said quietly. At caring. At letting anyone in. Everyone I've ever loved has been taken from me. And I can't. His voice roughened. I can't lose anyone else. Her breath caught. So yes, he continued, you're more than a contract. You're more than a responsibility. And that terrifies me more than any army Varric could raise. Lyriel turned slowly. Kalon stood there. Vulnerable. Raw. Nothing like the cold alpha who'd barely spoken to her for 3 weeks. What am I then? She whispered. I don't know yet. His eyes met hers. Gold fire in the darkness. But we're going to find out. If we survive. It wasn't a declaration of love. Wasn't a promise. But it was something. And right now, something was enough. Dawn came too fast. Lyriel stood in the courtyard, her breath making white clouds in the frozen air. She'd barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the dagger, felt the cold stone against her knees, heard Kalon's voice. Asterisk, Everyone I've ever loved has been taken from me. Asterisk. Ready? She jumped. He'd appeared beside her without sound, dressed in black leather and furs, weapons strapped everywhere, a warrior preparing for war. As ready as I'll ever be. His eyes scanned her face, looking for something. You didn't sleep. Neither did you. I could hear you pacing. Something flickered in his expression. The walls are thin. I know. They stared at each other. The air between them felt heavy, charged. Horses are ready. Thorn's voice shattered the moment. He led 4 horses into the courtyard, their breath steaming. Weather's turning. Storm coming from the north. Then we move fast. Kalon moved to the largest horse, a black stallion that looked as dangerous as its rider. He mounted in one fluid motion. Can you ride? Yes. Lyriel approached a smaller mare. The horse shifted nervously. She whispered soothing words, stroking its neck until it calmed. When she looked up, Kalon was watching her. What? Nothing, but his voice was softer. Let's go. Serene appeared last, loaded with supplies. If anyone asks, we were never here. They rode out as the sun climbed higher. The fortress disappeared behind them, along with any illusion of safety. Hours blurred together, narrow mountain paths, steep climbs. The forest gave way to rocks and sparse pine trees. Lyriel's legs burned, her back ached. She didn't complain. Kalon set a brutal pace, always scanning, always alert. His hand never left his weapons. Around midday, they stopped. Lyriel dismounted. Her legs nearly gave out. She grabbed the saddle to steady herself. Here. Serene pressed something into her hand. A small vial. For the soreness. Rub it on your muscles. Thank you. Kalon stood apart with Thorn. Their voices were low, urgent. Lyriel caught fragments. 3 wolves. West Ridge. Tracking us. Her stomach clenched. How long until the safe house? Serene asked quietly. Hours, if we're lucky. Thorn's scarred face was grim. If we're not, we fight. Kalon turned sharply. His entire body had gone rigid. We have company. Where? Thorn's hand flew to his sword. West Ridge. 4 wolves, maybe 5. Kalon's eyes began to glow. His wolf rising. They're tracking us. Varek's men? Who else? Kalon moved to his horse. Every movement precise, deadly. Mount up, now. They rode harder. The sun dropped lower, the temperature with it. Lyriel's fingers went numb despite her gloves. Behind them, howls echoed across the mountains. Closer. They're gaining, Thorn shouted. I know. Kalon pushed them faster. The horses strained, hooves slipping on ice and rock. The sky turned orange, then red, then purple. Darkness was coming. And so were the wolves. There's a narrow pass ahead, Kalon called back. We can use it as a choke point. And if they catch us first? Serene's voice shook. Then we fight. The howls were so close now. Lyriel risked a look behind. Dark shapes, moving fast, too fast. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Kalon dropped back, riding beside her now. Listen to me. If they attack, you stay on the horse. You ride for that pass. You don't stop. You don't look back. Understood? I can't just leave you. You can and you will. His voice cracked like a whip. You're the target, Lyriel. Getting you to safety is all that matters. What about you? His eyes met hers, gold fire in the dying light. I'll find you. I always will. Before she could respond, the attack came. A massive gray wolf launched from the rocks above, aiming straight for her. Lyriel screamed, jerked the reins. Her horse reared. She fell. The ground rushed up, slammed into her. Pain exploded through her shoulder. Through blurred vision, she saw Kalon leap from his horse. Mid-air, his body started changing. Bones cracking, reshaping, fur erupting. He hit the ground as a wolf. Obsidian black, massive, gold eyes blazing with fury. The gray wolf never touched her. Kalon's jaws closed around its throat. The crack of bone echoed like a gunshot. He dropped the body, positioned himself over Lyriel. 3 more wolves appeared on the ridge. Thorn shifted. His wolf was smaller but fast, brown and gray fur bristling as he charged. The wolves collided, a tangle of fangs and claws, blood on snow. Lyriel. Serene was beside her, pulling her up. Can you stand? Yes, her shoulder screamed. but she could move. I'm okay. Get to the horses. We need to. A wolf appeared behind them, circling, flanking. Serena reached for her knife, but the wolf was faster. It lunged. Time slowed. Lyriel saw Serene's eyes widen, saw the wolf's teeth, saw death coming. Something inside her chest exploded. Not thought, pure instinct. She grabbed a rock, threw herself forward, put her body between the wolf and Serene. The wolf's eyes widened, surprised, hesitated. 1 second. That's all it took. Lyriel swung the rock, connected with skull. The wolf stumbled. Serene's blade found its throat. The wolf collapsed. Lyriel stood there, shaking, rock still in her hand, covered in blood. She'd just killed a wolf, with her bare hands. Her, the powerless girl. A roar made her spin. Kalon stood over 2 more bodies, his massive wolf form heaving, blood matting his black fur. His eyes found her, and something in his gaze made her breath catch. Pride, raw and undeniable. He shifted back, didn't care about the cold or his nakedness, just strode straight to her. You didn't run. His voice was rough, raw. Serene was in danger. You could have died. So could she. They stared at each other, blood-soaked and breathing hard. Then Kalon did something she never expected. He touched her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone, gentle despite the violence still crackling around them. You're bleeding. She hadn't noticed. Now she felt the sting. I'm fine. You're not fine. His hand stayed on her face. You're injured and shaking and covered in blood. His voice dropped. But you're also the bravest person I've ever met. Her heart stopped. What you just did was incredibly brave, he continued, and incredibly stupid. I couldn't just watch. No. His eyes held hers. You couldn't. Could you? We need to move. Thorne's voice shattered the moment. He'd shifted back, already dressing. More could be coming. Kalon stepped back. The warmth of his hand disappeared. He dressed quickly from his pack. Can you ride? Yes. They mounted, rode hard through the darkening mountains. The pass appeared ahead. Beyond it, tucked in a hidden valley, a small stone building. The safe house. They'd made it. Barely. Inside, Serene started a fire. Thorne checked the perimeter. Kalon stood at the window, watching, always watching. Lyriel collapsed onto a bench. Every muscle screamed. But they were alive. Let me see that shoulder. Serene appeared with supplies. The injury wasn't bad. Bruised and scraped. Serene cleaned and bandaged it with practiced efficiency. Thank you, Serene said quietly, for protecting me. I didn't think. That's what makes it brave. Serene smiled. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving anyway. Across the room, Kalon turned from the window. His eyes found Lyriel. That look again. The one that made her feel seen, valued, important. Get some rest, he ordered, but his voice was gentle. Tomorrow we figure out our next move. Lyriel lay in her small chamber later, staring at the ceiling. Her mind replayed everything. The fight, the blood, the feel of Kalon's hand on her face. Asterisk. You're the bravest person I've ever met. Asterisk. She touched her cheek, could still feel the warmth of his palm. Something had changed today. She just didn't know what it meant. On the other side of the thin wall, she heard Kalon moving, restless. Neither of them would sleep well tonight. Too much had happened. Too much had almost been lost. And tomorrow, the real challenges would begin. 3 days in the safe house changed everything. The space was small, too small. They couldn't avoid each other even if they tried. And Lyriel was done trying. She woke to sounds on the other side of the wall. Kalon, moving, restless, always restless. Sometimes she heard him talking in his sleep, words she couldn't make out. But the pain in his voice was clear. What haunted his dreams? She wanted to ask, never did. Meals were the worst. 4 people around a tiny table, rations stretched thin, every bite calculated. The silence was suffocating. We need watch rotations, Thorne said during dinner. 2 hours each. I'll take first. Second watch is mine, Kalon added. I can help. Lyriel's voice cut through the quiet. No. Kalon didn't even look up. Why not? You have no wolf senses. You'd miss threats until too late. The words stung. True, but brutal. She could pair with someone, Serene suggested carefully. Extra eyes help. Kalon's jaw tightened. Fine. Third watch. With me. Victory felt hollow. That night, Lyriel lay awake, waiting. The knock came soft, firm. She opened the door. Kalon stood there, already dressed, his face unreadable in the dim light. Ready? She followed him to the main room. The fire had burned low, just embers. Shadows danced on stone walls. Outside, the mountain was silent, dark. They sat by the window, side by side. Minutes passed. Neither spoke. The silence stretched, became almost comfortable. You don't have to stay, Kalon finally said. I know you're tired. So are you. I don't sleep much. I've noticed. He glanced at her. Something flickered in his eyes. The walls really are thin. Yes. She pulled her blanket tighter. Do you have nightmares? The question hung in the cold air. Everyone has nightmares. That's not an answer. His hands clenched, unclenched. I dream about the insurrection, the one that killed my family. Lyriel's breath caught. She'd heard whispers. Never the full story. I was 20, he continued, voice distant, hollow. The rebels came during the lunar festival. When our guard was down, they wanted to destroy our bloodline, end any claim to power. He stared out the window, seeing the past instead of the present. My mother hid Serene in a secret chamber, then went back for my sister, Lysandra. She was 16. His voice cracked. They killed them both in the Great Hall, made my father watch, then killed him too. Kalon. The name came out broken. I survived because I was in the barracks with Thorn. By the time we fought through, everyone was dead. His eyes met hers, raw, devastated. I became Alpha that night, standing in my family's blood, surrounded by corpses. I'm so sorry. I learned something that night. His voice hardened. Love is a weapon. Care about someone, they become a target, a tool to destroy you. Understanding crashed through her. That's why you push everyone away. I'm not. He stopped, reconsidered. Yes, Varric is using the same strategy. He thinks I'm your weakness. He's wrong. Is he? She turned to face him fully. You jumped off a moving horse to save me. You brought me to your most secret location. You watch over me every night. That's different. You're my responsibility. Stop calling me that. The words exploded out. I'm not a responsibility. I'm not an obligation or a contract. I'm a person, Kalon. A person who's trying not to care about someone determined to stay cold. His eyes widened. You care about me? How could I not? Her voice shook. You saved my life. You're honorable and strong, and you carry so much pain it breaks my heart. Tears burned her eyes. Yes, I care. Even though I shouldn't. Even though this is supposed to be business. Silence crashed down. Kalon's jaw worked, fighting some internal war. Then he stood, abrupt. You should sleep. I'll finish the watch. Disappointment flooded her. Of course. She'd said too much, pushed too hard. Kalon, please, Lyriel. His voice was rough, desperate. Just go. She went, tears streaming now. But at the doorway, his voice stopped her. I care too. That's the problem. She turned. He stood at the window, shoulders rigid, not looking at her. That's the problem, he repeated quietly. Then he said nothing else. The next days were torture. They moved around each other, careful, like glass that might shatter. Kalon watched her when he thought she wasn't looking. She did the same. Serena noticed. Obviously, you two are exhausting, she said while preparing dinner. All that longing, no one doing anything about it. There's nothing to do. Lyriel chopped vegetables harder than necessary. Liar. He doesn't want attachments. What he wants and what he needs are different things. Serene's knife moved with precision. My brother has been alone so long, he's forgotten how to let people in. But you're breaking through, whether he likes it or not. He doesn't like it. Of course not. Change is terrifying. Serene paused, met her eyes, especially for someone who's built his entire existence on control. That night, a blizzard hit. Wind howled like wounded animals. Snow battered the walls. The temperature plummeted. Inside, the fire struggled. Couldn't keep up. Lyriel huddled in her chamber, every blanket piled on, still shivering. Her teeth chattered, jaw aching. She could see her breath. A knock. Yes? Kalon entered, his face tight with concern. It's too cold. The wind's coming through cracks. I'm fine. The lie was obvious through chattering teeth. You're freezing. He carried more furs. Your lips are blue. He wrapped them around her. It wasn't enough. The cold had invaded her bones. This isn't working. He muttered something under his breath, then took her hands in his. Heat. Immediate and shocking. His hands were furnaces. Wolves ran hotter, their metabolism designed for survival. Better? He rubbed her hands gently. Methodically, she could only nod, couldn't speak. He worked carefully, warming each finger, his touch gentle despite his calluses. Your core temperature is too low. His frown deepened. We need to warm you properly. Before she could ask what that meant, he climbed into her bed. Lyriel stiffened. Shocked, he pulled her against his chest, wrapped his arms around her. Relax. This is practical. You'll freeze otherwise. Practical. Right. Except there was nothing practical about her racing heart. Nothing clinical about his breath in her hair. Nothing simple about how perfectly she fit against him. He was solid warmth, chasing away the deadly cold. Her shivering subsided, slowly. Feeling returned to her fingers, first as painful tingling, then blessed warmth. She relaxed into him, her head against his chest, his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. Thank you, she whispered. His arms tightened, almost imperceptibly. You're my responsibility. Is that really all I am? The question hung between them. Outside, the blizzard raged. Inside, the world narrowed to just them. No, he finally admitted, voice barely audible. No, you're not. Then what am I? I don't know. His hand moved to her hair, fingers threading through the strands. I don't know how to name this, how to categorize what I feel. It breaks all my rules. Lyriel tilted her head back, looked at him. His golden eyes glowed in the darkness, intense, conflicted, beautiful. Maybe it doesn't need a name, she said softly. Maybe it just needs to exist. That's dangerous. Living is dangerous. We nearly died 3 days ago. We're being hunted. She touched his face. Danger is already here. Pushing me away won't stop it. His thumb traced her jaw, the touch electric. You make it sound simple. Maybe it is. Maybe we're complicating it. He stared at her lips. The air crackled. He was going to kiss her. She could feel it, but then he closed his eyes, rested his forehead against hers instead. Sleep, he said roughly. We'll figure this out tomorrow. She wanted to argue, to push, but exhaustion pulled at her. His warmth, his comfort, the emotional intensity. Stay, she mumbled, already drifting. I'll stay. She fell asleep in his arms, safe, warm, protected. When she woke, morning light filtered through cracks. She was alone, but the blankets held his warmth, and she swore she felt the ghost of lips on her forehead, a kiss given while she slept. The blizzard had passed, but something between them had shifted. She found him outside later, staring at the white landscape. Their eyes met across the distance. No words needed. They both knew. This thing between them was real, powerful, growing stronger every day. The question wasn't if they'd acknowledge it, but when, and whether they'd survive long enough to find out. The morning after the blizzard brought false peace, Lyriel found Kalon outside, shirtless, training despite the cold. His muscles moved with lethal precision. Each strike was perfect, controlled, but she saw the tension, the barely contained violence. He was fighting himself more than invisible enemies. He stopped mid-strike. You should be inside. So should you. Wolves don't feel cold the same way. I'm starting to understand that. She stepped into the snow. About last night. We don't need to discuss it. Yes, we do. She moved closer. You held me all night. You said I was more than a responsibility. We can't just pretend. Lyriel, listen. He turned. Pain etched across his face. Everyone I've ever cared about has been taken from me. Mother, sister, father, even friends lost in battles I couldn't prevent. His voice cracked. Caring for you makes the target on your back even bigger. The target exists whether you care or not. Because I've been careless. I've let my guard down. He gestured between them. This whatever this is clouds my judgment. Or maybe, she said quietly, You finally allowed yourself to feel after years of shutting everyone out. Maybe that's not weakness. Maybe that's strength. He stared at her, like she spoke a foreign language. Then Thorn burst out. We have a problem. The moment shattered. Serene got an emergency transmission. Varric isn't just sending assassins anymore. Thorn's face was grim. He's mobilizing an army. Kalon's entire demeanor shifted. Warrior replacing conflicted man. How many? At least 50 wolves, plus human hunters with weapons designed to kill our kind. Lyriel's blood ran cold. 50 wolves. Against 4 people. We move. Now. Kalon was already heading inside. Before they find us. Move where? Serene appeared. Fear in her eyes. We're surrounded by mountains. Moonfall Ravine. Kalon's jaw set. It's treacherous. Considered impassable in winter. But there's a hidden route. Moonfall Ravine? Thorn looked skeptical. That's a death trap in good weather. It's our best option. They'll expect us to go east. No one's foolish enough to attempt the ravine. Except us. Serene said dryly. Except us. Kalon was already moving. Pack everything. We leave in 30 minutes. They prepared in frantic silence. Lyriel's hands shook, securing her pack. Fear coiled in her stomach like a living snake. Serene pressed a knife into her palm. Keep this close, just in case. I don't know how to fight. Then aim for soft tissue. Eyes, throat, belly. Serene's warmth was tempered with steel. And don't hesitate. Hesitation kills. They rode out as sun climbed higher. Hours of hard riding, narrow paths, cliff edges that made Lyriel's stomach lurch. The temperature dropped as they climbed. Wind cut like knives. Kalon led. Alert. Scanning constantly. Mid-afternoon. The howls began. Distant, but getting closer. They found our trail. Thorn's voice was grim. How far to the ravine? Serene asked. 2 miles. Kalon pushed them faster. Hold on. The horses strained. Hooves slipping on ice. The howls grew louder. Lyriel glanced back. Dark shapes moving across white landscape. Too many to count. They're gaining, she shouted. There. Kalon pointed ahead. The ravine entrance. If we can reach it. An arrow whistled past Lyriel's head. So close she felt the wind. Ride! Kalon roared. Don't stop. More arrows. Raining down from cliffs above. Horses panicked. Hard to control. Behind them, wolves closed the distance. Terrifyingly fast, they rounded a massive rock formation. The ravine entrance appeared. A narrow gap between towering cliffs, like the earth had been split open. Go, Kalon commanded. Serene first, then Lyriel. Serene didn't hesitate. Her horse disappeared into the gap. Lyriel followed, heart in her throat. The ravine walls rose on either side, so close she could touch both. Above, sky was a thin blue ribbon. Halfway through, she heard Kalon shout, pain in his voice. She looked back. He was on the ground, arrow through his shoulder. Thorn stood over him, fighting off 2 wolves. More poured around the rocks. Kalon! His name ripped from her throat. Keep going, Thorn shouted. Get to safety. But she couldn't leave him bleeding, outnumbered, dying. Lyriel, move! Serene had turned back. There's nothing you can do. She was right. Lyriel had no wolf, no weapons beyond a small knife, no way to help. Useless, the word echoed, mocking, familiar. Another arrow struck near Kalon, blood staining his shirt. He struggled to rise. Thorn fought valiantly. But there were too many. More wolves appeared, circling, scenting victory, and Lyriel could only watch. Helpless, desperate. Something inside her chest cracked, ice breaking, chains snapping. Power surged through her body, so intense it stole her breath. Her vision sharpened, colors exploded, sounds amplified, heartbeats, breathing, arrows cutting air. No. A whisper, then louder. No. Heat exploded through her veins. Her bones began to shift, snap, reform. Pain unlike anything she'd ever known consumed her. But beneath it, power, raw, ancient, undeniable. She was transforming. Her human form shattered like glass. Fur erupted across her skin, silver white, luminous. Her body expanded, reshaped, became something new. Her wolf emerged. Not dormant, not hidden, fully awakened, powerful, furious. When the transformation completed, she stood on 4 legs. Massive, silver fur covered her body. Strange, glowing symbols pulsed with lunar energy. She was larger than any wolf she'd seen, nearly matching Kalon's size. Through wolf eyes, she saw everything with crystal clarity. The attackers surrounding Kalon and Thorn, the fear in Serene's eyes, the blood on Kalon's shoulder. Her wolf howled. The sound reverberated through the ravine like thunder. Every wolf froze, instinct recognizing something they'd never encountered. A lunar wolf, ancient bloodline, rare beyond measure. Lyriel leaped forward, supernatural speed. She crashed into the group like a silver avalanche. Her jaws found throats, claws ripped through flesh. Power flowed through her, intoxicating, terrifying. She was no longer helpless, no longer weak. She was fury incarnate. Varric's wolves scattered, fear replacing confidence. They'd come expecting an easy kill. Not this. Lyriel stood over Kalon, protective, fierce. Her growl was clear. Touch him and die. Kalon stared up at her, shock and awe in his eyes. Lyriel, he breathed. The remaining attackers retreated, courage broken. Even the human hunters stopped firing, too stunned by the wolf whose fur literally glowed. As the last enemy disappeared, Lyriel felt the power ebb. Her wolf form flickered. Unstable from years of dormancy, she shifted back without meaning to. Collapsed onto bloody snow beside Kalon. He caught her, ignoring his own wound. "You're a lunar wolf." "What?" The word barely came out. "That's why no one could sense your wolf. That's why you seemed powerless." His voice filled with wonder. "You weren't wolfless. You were sealed." "Sealed?" She was shaking, overwhelmed. Thorn approached, bleeding but alive. Lunar wolves haven't been seen in generations. Their power was so great, so threatening, most were hunted to extinction. Someone sealed her wolf to protect her, Serene realized, kneeling beside them. Someone knew what she was, hid her power to keep her safe. Lyriel's mind reeled. Her entire life, she'd believed herself broken, defective, worthless. But she wasn't wolfless. She was something rare, powerful, hidden to protect her from those who would kill her for it. "We need to move." Kalon struggled to stand. "They'll regroup, come back with reinforcements." "You're wounded," Lyriel protested. "I'll heal." "Wolves always do." He smiled at her, genuine, warm. "You saved my life. My supposedly powerless Luna just took down 5 wolves single-handedly. I didn't think. I just saw you bleeding and something broke free. The seal shattered because your protective instincts overrode it." Serene helped Lyriel up. "The question is, who placed the seal? And why?" No time to investigate. Together, wounded and exhausted, they made their way deeper into Moonfall Ravine. The narrow path twisted through towering cliffs, eventually opening into a hidden valley. A small sanctuary nestled against the far wall, ancient structure built into rock itself. Serene gasped. "This is a lunar temple, built by the old wolves," Thorn explained. "Before the kingdoms divided, sacred ground. Varric's forces won't dare follow." Inside, they tended wounds. Serene worked on Kalon's shoulder while Lyriel sat apart, still processing her transformation. Her body ached, muscles screaming, but beneath the pain was rightness. Her wolf had finally awakened, and it felt like coming home. Kalon approached once Serene finished, sat beside her without asking permission. "How do you feel?" "Like everything I believed about myself was a lie." She turned to him. "I spent my whole life thinking I was worthless, broken. You were never worthless." His hand found hers. "You were brave before you could shift. You protected Serene with no claws or fangs. The wolf didn't make you strong, Lyriel. It just gave you tools to match the courage you already had." Tears burned her eyes. "You really believe that?" "I know it." He lifted their joined hands, pressed a kiss to her knuckles. "I was wrong to push you away, wrong to think distance would protect us. Watching you nearly die today made me realize something." "What?" "That losing you would destroy me whether I admitted my feelings or not, so I might as well be honest." Her breath caught. "You're not a contract," he continued, voice rough with emotion. "You're not an obligation. You're the woman who makes my wolf kneel, who breaks through every defense, who saved my life without hesitation. His golden eyes held hers. You're everything I didn't know I needed. Kalon, she whispered, I'm asking you to choose me, not because of contracts or debt, not because political arrangements bound you, but because you want to. Because this is real, worth fighting for. She thought of her journey, from frightened girl accepting a contract marriage to woman who awakened legendary power to protect the man she loved. Hearts didn't follow logical timelines. Love didn't wait for convenient moments. I already chose you, she said, touching his face. The first time you looked at me like I mattered. He closed the distance, kissed her, gentle and fierce, tasting of blood and snow and promise. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. My Luna, he murmured, not contracted, not temporary. Mine. Yours, she agreed. And you're mine. Outside, snow began falling again. Somewhere, Varric plotted revenge. Danger still surrounded them. The road ahead would be brutal. But Lyriel Voss awakened Lunar Wolf. True Luna of the Nightshade Alpha faced the future without fear. She'd found her strength, her wolf, her mate. Whatever came next, they'd face together. The contracted Luna had become the destined Luna. And their story? This was only the beginning. If you loved Lyriel and Kalon's journey from contract to destiny, smash that like button. Subscribe for more epic werewolf romance stories. Drop a comment telling me, should I continue their story? What do you want to see happen with Varric? Your support means everything. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. And remember, true strength isn't about what you are, it's about who you choose to protect. See you in the next story.